Thank you so much for clicking to my video today. We are working on some fun cherry blossoms. This is a really simple and easy tutorial. You can find the video tutorial by skipping ahead with the timestamps down below and all the applicable sections, or you can find the written pattern with photo instructions on my blog by clicking the link down in the description below. These are really small and they work up super quick, about 5 to 10 minutes. You can make a bountiful amount. You can even add them onto other projects. I've done this myself with my sakura scarf pattern. I've also done it with my seasonal tree friend pattern, as you can see on screen. And there's a lot you can do with these. You can add them to non-crochet bags as well. And I'm sure there's plenty of creativity you can find to do with these. You can skip ahead to find the full tutorial, and you can also find the written pattern on my blog with photo instructions as well. And the best part about these is that you're not constrained to doing exactly this. You can adjust the hook and the yarn size to create even bigger cherry blossoms, or they don't even have to be cherry blossoms at all. You can actually work with different colors to make different kinds of flowers. They can look like generic flowers, which works well for so many other projects. So I hope you can find a way to adjust these to your liking so you can feel as inspired as possible. Consider subscribing so you can be alerted for the next tutorial or other video that I post up on my channel. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you for the next one. You don't need a whole lot for this project in terms of materials, which makes this even more accessible to get started with. I'm going to show you everything I use to make these small little cherry blossoms that you can use for different purposes. However, if you are wanting to change the size of the cherry blossoms or make another design based off of this pattern, you can definitely change up the materials, such as a bigger hook or bigger yarn, for all the different reasons that you could think of. But for today, we're just focused on these little ones. For this project, I used a 4mm hook. I do use Susan Bates, and I really like the inline hooks personally. You'll need a pair of scissors to cut off the loose ends and finish off your project. You'll need the darning needle to be able to sew in some quick tails and make sure that those aren't exposed and to secure your project. And finally, you'll need your yarn. You can actually make different colored flowers depending on the yarn color. However, I'm just going with red and pink. You don't need a lot of yarn for the center part of the cherry blossom. And then for the main color of the petals, you'll need a decent bit more. You'll need a bit more of the other color, depending on how many you're going to be making. But these are pretty good in terms of how much yarn is consumed. For this project, we start in the center with a magic ring. And then from there, we work outward using slip stitches and double crochets. And I'll show you how to do all that. So using our core color, the color found in the center of our cherry blossoms, so for this one it's going to be red. We'll take our red yarn and then we are going to start off with the magic ring. So to do that, I do have a video tutorial on how to do so, but I'll show you quickly on how to do it here. So with my less dominant hand, so my left hand, I'm going to have the tail in front of my index finger. I'm going to wrap it and create an X shape, and I'll hold down the X with my thumb. Now with my hook, I will go underneath that first loop. I'll go grab that second loop and pull it through without splitting my yarn. Do a slight twist like so. I'm gonna go grab my working yarn with my middle finger, yarn over, and I'll pull through the loop to do a chain. So it's pretty tight there. I've pulled. Now I can take out my index finger. I'm going to take the tail out of that loop, and there is my magic ring. So you can either go find the tutorial found in the description below, or you can rewind that to see how I did that. So there's our magic ring that we're going to be working into. So now with our working yarn, we are going to single crochet 5 times into this loop, but we are going to be doing a color change on that final single crochet. So let's do 4 single crochet together into this loop. With my hook, I'm going to insert into the loop, treating it as a stitch. So insert my hook, and I'm going to treat this just as I would a normal stitch. So I'm going to yarn over my working yarn, pull through the loop. I'm left with 2 loops on my hook, and then I'm going to yarn over again, and I'm going to pull through both loops to do my first single crochet. So there's my first. Let's do another single crochet. Going to insert my hook into the loop, yarn over. I'm going to pull through the loop. I'm left with 2 loops left on my hook. I'm going to yarn over again. I'm going to pull through both loops. So there are my 2 single crochets, and I'm going to do 2 more. So let's meet back when we have 4 single crochets on our magic ring. So there's my third single crochet, and then followed by my fourth single crochet. So once we have our 4 single crochets, we're in a good spot. So now we're going to do a color change with this next one. So I'm going to get my pink yarn, and now I'm going to begin a single crochet with my red yarn. So I'm going to insert into the magic ring. I'm going to yarn over and pull through. I now have my 2 loops left on my hook. So now I'm going to go grab the working yarn of the pink yarn. I'm going to hook it. I'm going to pull it through those 2 loops like so. Give yourself a generous amount of like tail length so it doesn't come through, and it's going to feel really loose like this. So now we're going to do the magic part of the magic ring, and we're going to cinch it up till it's tight. And as you can see, it's still a bit loose here, totally fine. And from here, we are going to, now with our pink yarn, we are going to slip stitch into that very first stitch of the next round. So I'm going to insert my hook, as you can see here, into that next stitch in the red. I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to pull through both of my red and pink loops to do a slip stitch. So I'm going to pull through that first loop. I'm going to pull through that second loop. So it should be kind of a tight stitch. Now, with all that looseness that we were dealing with, we can go back and we can look at these tails in the back, and we can pull these just so they're a bit tighter. And that also includes the pink yarn too. There we go. Now my magic ring is looking a lot better. So this should be a tight circle, and it should look good. So make sure to do that part appropriately and effectively, and then we can continue on. So once that's all done, we have our red yarn in place. So we have a lot of tails in the way. We're going to be ignoring those. We are just now going to be working with the pink yarn, or the second color for our petals. So I'm actually going to cut this just so it's not in the way of the screen. So no more red. So now we have our slip stitch. We are now going to do a chain 2. So 1, 2. I've done 2 chains, and now in that same stitch that we slip stitched into, we are going to do 3 double crochets. So I'm going to start with my first double crochet. I'm going to yarn over before I even insert my hook into the stitch. I've yarned over, and now I'm going to insert into that same stitch. It's a little tight. I now have 3 loops on my hook. I have 1, 2, 3. I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to pull through just the first loop, which is going to be that red yarn. I'm going to yarn over and pull through. I'm now left with 3 loops on my hook again. I will yarn over once more, and I will pull through just the first 2 loops, not all 3, just 2. I'm left with 2 loops on my hook now, and then I yarn over and pull through both. So there is my first double crochet, and we're going to do 2 more double crochets in that same exact stitch. So just like we did, we are going to yarn over before we insert our hook. I'm going to insert through the same exact stitch that we just did that other double crochet. Insert, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through the first loop. We have 3 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Okay, we're going to do that one more time for a total of 3 double crochets in that same stitch. So yarn over, insert into the stitch, yarn over and pull through the first one. We have 3 loops on our hook. Yarn over and pull through 2. Yarn over one more time since we have 2 loops on our hook, and we're going to pull through both. So there's your first petal. It doesn't quite look like it yet, but we are doing the right thing. So great job doing your 3 double crochet. In the next stitch, we're going to do a slip stitch. So that first stitch that we did, we're going to insert our hook. Don't need to yarn over. So we're going to insert our hook through the stitch. We're going to go grab our yarn, and we're going to pull through both of our loops. So pulling through the red, and then pulling through that existing pink loop. So we've done this, so we are going to do exactly what we just did before, and we're going to do chain 2 after our slip stitch. So chain 1, chain 2, and now we're going to do 3 double crochet once again into that same stitch. I'm going to do it one more time with you, and then we'll go right through it. So yarn over, and then insert our hook into the same stitch that our slip stitch is in. Yarn over and pull through. Then we're going to yarn over, and we're going to pull through 2 loops. Yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops. Okay, so we're going to make sure we do this 2 more times. So for a total of 3 double crochet in the same exact stitch. So let's do that together. So there's my second double crochet, and there's my third double crochet. Once you have all 3, you will go into the next stitch and you'll slip stitch. So insert, yarn over, and then pull through both loops. So it's a tight slip stitch, chain 2, and then you're going to do 3 double crochet in the same exact stitch. So the pattern is going to be on the screen here. You can follow along, and you should be able to finish this in roughly 5 to 10 minutes. And then once we get to the end, I'll show you where to do your last slip stitch and then how to finish this off. Alright, so once you have all 5 petals done, you're doing a great job. So this is, your flower should be looking like this. You might be wondering where we want to do our last stitch, because you can tell that this is just going to come undone and not look as good. We're going to find that first initial slip stitch that we did when we changed colors right here. So we are going to insert our hook through there, and then we're going to do a slip stitch, which you're all pros at this point. All right, it's tight. I can now nudge my hook to give us some slack. I'm gonna go cut the tail of my pink yarn. I'm now gonna take that working yarn and I'm gonna pull that so it comes out, and now it is taut. There we go. There is our cherry blossom. Great job. As you can tell, if you do it once, you'll probably memorize the pattern pretty quickly. So let's get into what we do with all these loose ends now. So first things first, if anything is looking loose, you can tell the center here is looking a bit loose. I can actually take the back tails and I'm just gonna tighten these up just for some last minute improvisions. All right, so that looks definitely a lot better after I tighten some stuff up. Now we can pull out our darning needle. So these aren't sharp, so make sure you grab your darning needle. And there's a few ways you can go about this. Definitely do whatever you are most comfortable with. But if this is going to be a standalone project, I'm just going to show you how to tighten everything off and so it looks clean. But if you are attaching onto something, such as a scarf or a bag or something, it might be worthwhile keeping some of these tails intact just so you can use it to sew. But if that's not the case and you're just using them as decor, I actually like to just straight up tie my work in the back. So I'm grabbing these loose tails. I'm going to tie these and just do a tight knot in the back just for some extra security. So I'm going to pull that. So that feels tight enough for me. I'm not doing a whole lot with these besides them being in my home, so I feel okay doing that. You can retie it again if you want. And then from here, you can either choose to take your scissors and just cut so it's low, but I am someone who wants just a tiny bit more security. So I'm going to take my darning needle and I'm going to simply weave in through my stitches. And then we'll do that with all the colors here. So I'll go grab one of my reds. And then depending on if people are going to be seeing the back of your project, it might be worth making sure that you seam through some of the threads of the same color. And once you have that, you can take that final pink strand that we ended with, use my darning needle, and you might be wondering how to go from here. So I like to just go straight through the stitch that it's next to. So I'm taking my darning needle and pushing it through. I like to pull tight so it gives it even more definition. And then same thing, we'll just secure in the back. However, for this one, if you want extra security, here's a quick tip. You can actually go in to create a loop. So here it is coming out. I'm gonna go 2 stitches over, and I'm gonna have my darning needle come back out the same stitch that the yarn's coming out of. I'm gonna push it slowly and pull. And as you can see, it creates this loop. And with this loop, I'll insert my darning needle, pull through so it's knotted, weave in through one more stitch, call that secure, and then now I can use my scissors to cut. I'm not going to cut straight to the brim, but I'm going to leave just a tiny bit of breathing room for them. And if you want to, you can glue these in place as well. So there's the back. You can cut these even shorter, and like I said, you could use glue. But there we have our cherry blossom. So great job, very fast. You can use it as something that you can apply to other projects, such as scarves. I'll have a list of patterns that this is functioning with down below. But you did a wonderful job. I hope you enjoyed this quick project of the cherry blossoms. Would love to see what other kind of flowers you do. You could easily do, you know, sunflowers or different kinds of flowers that you may see, or any other kind of wacky colors. So thank you so much for joining, and I hope to see you for the next tutorial.